Welcome back to another episode of Operation Arsenal, guys. Today, we're going to be starting with the positives, because as you know, that Watford game, let's not even talk about it too much, but there was a lot of negatives, and tonight there are also a lot of negatives, but I want to start today's video positively. We're going to look at the positives of this result, a 1-0 away win at Red Star Belgrade, whoever they are. By the way, quick word on them. In some places today, they kind of held their own. And I guess you could say, they're up against a very weak Arsenal side and blah, blah, blah. But I just wanted to say that they don't even look that bad. But positives of today's 1-0 win. That makes it 3 wins in 3 in the Europa League. Yes, I know it's the Europa League. Yes, I know the competition is quite a lot easier than the Champions League. But regardless, 3 wins from 3 is still a positive. That's really nice. It's nice to see that we are capable of grinding out results even after some pretty terrible performances, including tonight's. It's nice to see that we are picking up wins. The big positive for me, and one of the biggest positives of tonight, is Jack is back. Jack Wilshere is back, and he looks so good. It's really good to see that he's getting minutes. I feel like he could drop down at any moment. Every time he goes on the ground, I'm thinking, oh no, not again, please, no. And then he gets up and then he's back to his best. I think that we've really missed that creativity that a player like Jack brings. There isn't another Jack Wilshere that I can think of, actually. He's a very unique player. There's a certain style to him. He's very good with the ball at his feet. It's glued to his feet. And I think that's actually a huge reason why he's always been so prone to being injured. The ball's so close to him. He doesn't release it quick enough, or he out-dribbles, or I should say over-dribbles, and just gets taken down and injured a lot. And of course, it's just in his DNA. Clearly, he's got weak ligaments and all this stuff, but it's just great to see Jack Wilshere back playing games. I'm hoping he's going to play against Everton at the weekend. He should be in that starting lineup for me now. I'd try Xhaka and Wilshere. I think I'd like to see what it's like. I think, if I really think about it, I don't think they work together. I think as a partnership, it probably won't work, but it'd be nice to see it in action, just so we can see what it's like. I think that Wilshere-Ramsey in the past didn't work, but it might now. The way I see Wilshere is, he's a box-to-box midfielder, but he seems to be very good going forward at the moment. He's a very creative player, so maybe with Xhaka it would work, because Xhaka sits back. He's a playmaker. He's a deep playmaker. He sits back and he passes, these long-range passes, often to the side, I'll admit. And Wilshere would get that freedom to go forward. So maybe that's a partnership we will see in the future. But most importantly, Jack is back. He's fit. Hopefully it stays that way. And of course, with the lineup, you'll see it on screen now. It was a very young team. We've got a lot of our youngsters playing, as we call them, the kids. And that's another positive for me. They're getting experience. They're getting playtime in a big competition like the Europa League. I mean, for a 19-year-old trying to break into the first team, that's a huge opportunity. So I'm sure they're really grateful for the time they're getting on the pitch. And some of them look very good, although it's something that I want to talk about later in this video. I think the lineup was wrong. I think that some of those players, especially Reece Nelson, he shouldn't be playing right wing back. But sticking to positives, with them getting experience, not only getting a win, but also getting a clean sheet. And that is a good thing for us. Away from home, we've picked up a win. That's still something we haven't done in the Premier League, an away win. So I know it's a completely different game against someone like, Red Star Belgrade. But it feels like, for once, I can say we've got a clean sheet away from home. It's really, really nice, that. And those are the main positives I can think of. Let's move on to the negatives, and let's not kid ourselves, okay? In reality, this result is pathetic. I mean, it is. It would have been 0-0 pretty much had they not gone down to 10 men with 10 minutes left. And I'm not saying the goal is purely because they went down to 10 men. Actually, I think the goal was just pure creative brilliantness. It's just a moment of fantastic play between 3 of our most senior players, Wilshere, Walcott, and Giroud. What a finish, by the way. What a finish, Ollie. That is... A lot of people are going to laugh and say, it's only Europa League, it's against a crappy side. But it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Some defenders are tighter than others. I get that. Maybe Giroud wouldn't have got an opportunity to even try something like that against a team like Bayern or whatever. But in reality, the ball is there. he has hit it so well that it's unsavable. A nice little kind of semi-bicycle kick into the top corner. It's a fantastic goal, and the build-up play between Wilshere and Walcott was really nice. So you can say what you want, but Olivier Giroud, he is one of the best finishers in the club, and he has scored some outstanding goals for us. So another great one tonight. But again, I keep using this term, but in reality, let's ignore that goal, and let's say it did finish 0-0, which it pretty much should have, bar that crazy individual bit of skill from Giroud. It would have been an absolute disaster, and I would have been sat here saying, we just drew 0-0 against a Sunday League side, and we couldn't even get more than 5 shots on target. The lineup was abysmal. Like, it really was. Now, I know it's the Europa League, and I know it's against a lesser team, but that to me, I mean, we're clearly not taking it very seriously. The lineup was a joke. First of all, Debuchy, I think he actually did okay tonight, but what is he doing at right centre-back? I don't know. I know he has and he can play at centre-back, but shouldn't be there if you ask me. We've then got El Neni, one of the least exciting players I think I've ever seen in an Arsenal shirt playing at centre-back. He's a DM. He's a midfielder. He's a good dribbler. He's got a good pass on him, but at centre-back against a team like this, I guess you can get away with it, but if we're going to come up against some tough sides, which we will, if we want to win this competition, we are going to come up against some very good European sides. Debuchy and El Neni better not be anywhere near our defence, because it will not go well. Holding, I thought, had a relatively okay game as well. I much prefer him on the right side. He seems more comfortable, but basically Holding was the only defensive player in the right position for me. It really was such a poor lineup. Cech in goal, by the way, just want to mention he had a good game, made a few good, vital saves, actually. We could have easily conceded a few tonight. But now moving over to the more interesting part of our lineup. We have, I would argue, the most exciting young player at the club, Reiss Nelson, playing at right wing back. Just let that sink in for a second. When we've got someone, even Debuchy, he could play at right wing back, okay? Or anyone else other than Reiss Nelson. And I get it, he's a youngster. He couldn't have maybe played up front in our front three because we had Walcott, we had Giroud. But it wasn't just Reiss Nelson in the wrong position. Jack Wilshere isn't a left winger. And I know he wasn't technically playing there. He was on the lineup, but he drifted inside. And that makes it somewhat okay. But for me, we've got to be setting up properly. And I feel like Reiss Nelson shouldn't be a right wing back. Whenever he got the ball and went forward, that's when he looked his best. He did well defensively, but he shouldn't have to do well defensively. He shouldn't be back there. He should be able to creatively express himself. Get him in that right wing position and let him run free. Let him have some shots on target. He got one shot on target today, and it was very almost a spectacular goal. Just driving it down into that near post, bottom right corner, but of course it was saved. And he's playing at right wing back, and it's just... I don't know. Coquelin, he's in the right position. He's a DM. Fine. Did okay. Picked up his usual yellow card. Fantastic. Then we had Willock next to him, who looks okay. But for me, Jack Wilshere should have been there. I think Jack Wilshere and Coquelin should have been the two centre midfielders. It would have worked better for me. Who do we have at left wing back? We had, what's his name? Maitland-Niles. There we go. Maitland-Niles. He was on the left side, and he did somewhat okay. But again, for me, central or on the right makes more sense for him. He's right-footed and he seems more comfortable out there. But again, that's okay. You can get away with that. But for me, Reiss Nelson, Jack Wilshere were in the wrong position tonight. But luckily, we haven't lost the game. And luckily, they were still involved in the game. So that's definitely a good thing. One thing I want to talk about as well, about just the general feel of the side tonight, the general quality of football. It was very poor. I felt like we were boring. Very, very boring. There was a lack of creativity, and it took that special inspired moment by three of our most, decorated players in terms of caps and appearances. Actually, I don't think Jack is even up there anymore because he's been so injured, but three of our, top players on the pitch were involved in that goal, and I think that says it all, really. Just the fact that we couldn't score against them was shocking. Absolutely shocking, but I don't want to go on too much. I think that about covers what I wanted to say tonight. I think once again, we've papered over some cracks tonight. A 0-0 draw would have been absurd. 1-0 is pretty much an embarrassing result. We should have been winning this game 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6-0. You see Liverpool the other night beating a better side 7-0 in the Champions League. You know, that's what we should be trying to do. And, you know, I get it. Our team was very young, very inexperienced, and it wasn't going to happen. But still doesn't mean I'm not disappointed as a fan, you know. And to the Arsenal fans that travelled, that's an insult. It really is. I mean, you'd at least expect to see a couple more shots on target minimum. So a disappointing night in Europe, but in the end, it is 3 points. We are going to be top of our group. It looks like we're going to be cruising through into the next stage. And that means we're able to rest our big players for the big games in the Premier League and use the youngsters in our Europa League games, which is exactly what we've done already. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do enjoy making these videos. I've always wanted to do a series like this. So if you enjoy it, you like listening to my thoughts, then please do show some support on these videos. Hit that like button, share it with your Arsenal fan friends. That's not even the right way of saying it. If you've got any friends that are Arsenal fans, you think they'd enjoy it, please do share it with them. Make sure you subscribe as well, and I will see you in the next one.